Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series as we take a look at the Week 1 Waiver Wire for your Fantasy Football League. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here as we get you ready for the first weekend of NFL season. Guys, don't forget to win big in 2021 with RotoBaller.com's NFL Premium Pass. Are you ready to dominate your season-long and DFS leagues? RotoBaller NFL Premium Pass and Draft Kit includes rankings, projections, and cheat sheets for all formats. Get exclusive draft articles, DFS tools, lineup optimizers, and premium Slack chats. Join in on the winning and take 50% off any Premium Pass and use my promo code ACES for an additional 10% discount. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the Week 1 Waiver Wire running back show. There's also the quarterback/tight end show. But this one, we're focusing on the wide receiver position. If you've completed your draft, and now you sit back and you go, what did I do? Season hasn't even started yet, and I got to work the waiver wire. I have a few wide receivers here who might be available who can help early and often throughout the fantasy football season. As always, I use the yahoo.com fantasy football current roster percentages. Okay, try to keep it less than 40 to 50% rostered. So we have a few players here who I'm surprised, honestly, that are as low rostered as they are. And first up on the list is Nelson Agholor of the New England Patriots. This offseason, the Patriots brought in 3 players to improve their passing game. Nelson Agholor, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith. Nelson Agholor was the big wide receiver they brought in. I know people love Jacoby Myers, and deservedly so, okay? But Nelson Agholor, who twice in his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, 2017 and 2018, had over 90 targets, then went to the Raiders last season and was a useful fantasy play as a big play. Listen, not a high volume guy. I understand that. Only 48 receptions last year on 82 targets. But Nelson Agholor has always had the ability to make the best of his targets and his receptions. 48 receptions, 896 yards, 18.7 yards per catch. If you have spent your fantasy life in love with the big playability of Deshaun Jackson, well, let's get on the Nelson Agholor train because it's a very similar skill set. 48 receptions, 8 touchdowns. He is essentially catching a touchdown 1 out of every 6 catches he makes. 1 out of every 6. Averaged 56 yards per game as a Raider last year. Now, Mac Jones is the quarterback for the New England Patriots, and truthfully, that should help the Patriots wide receivers because he throws the ball significantly better than Cam Newton did. Okay, so Nelson Agholor, 36% owned, 1 out of every 6 catches last year, ended up in the end zone, 18.7 yards per catch, and only 36% rostered. Up next, Russell Gage of the Atlanta Falcons. We know Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is arguably the second or third wide receiver being drafted, and Kyle Pitts is being drafted as a top 5, top 6 tight end. But Russell Gage is still being underdrafted and is now under-rostered as draft season comes to an end. Only 24% roster. Now, I'm not saying if you're in a league with 2 flexes and 2 wide receivers, you're using Russell Gage in your lineup. I know I'm not anywhere I have him. But Russell Gage is a wide receiver who should be at the very least on your bench. Anybody who had 109 targets last year and is playing with the same quarterback he played with last year should be on more teams than just 24% of them. 786 yards, 72 receptions, 10.9 yards per reception. The opposite of Nelson Agholor. Nelson Agholor is that big play guy who's going to boom or bust some points for you. He's going to have days where he's going to go for 120 yards on 4 catches. Okay? Russell Gage is going to be that 6 catches for 81 yards. And next thing you know, you got 14 fantasy points out of your flex play on a bye week or as he's filling in for somebody due to injury. Okay? Up next, Paris Campbell. Guys, get on the Paris Campbell train. Just like you should have been on the Michael Pittman train for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I know a lot of this is tied to Carson Wentz's A, health, and B, a return to significant relevance in fantasy, right? Carson Wentz not being drafted in many spots, okay? But if Carson Wentz, A's foot is healthy, which it seems like it is, and then number 2, comes anywhere near his MVP season, or should have been MVP season, with the Philadelphia Eagles, then you've got a wide receiver situation for Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. T.Y. Hilton is out. He's going to be out for a while. Neck surgery, I believe. Okay, so here's Paris Campbell sliding in as the wide receiver 2. He's a former second-round pick out of Ohio State, entering in 2019, so his third year, big proving year for Paris Campbell. He was injured most of last season, but steps in now to T.Y. Hilton's role opposite Michael Pittman on the Colts. Last season, only 9 targets, 6 receptions before he got hurt. But Paris Campbell is only 11% rostered, and he's stepping into a starting wide receiver role on an offense that has a strong O-line, a monstrous ground game, a quarterback who's in a position to rejuvenate his career with his old offensive coordinator in Frank Reich, and now 2 young wide receivers who both now need to step up with T.Y. Hilton out. I love the opportunity Paris Campbell has. He's 11% rostered on Yahoo. Not going to cost you anything in a waiver claim if you have to readjust some things. Put him on your bench. See what happens over the first couple of weeks. But Paris Campbell, certainly worth the ad. KJ Hamler of the Denver Broncos, the wide receiver 3 for the Broncos. So the question becomes with Denver, do we have enough quarterback play with Teddy Bridgewater to make Cortland Sutton, to make Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler fantasy relevant? KJ Hamler last year, 3 touchdowns, 56 targets, 30 receptions. He's my super deep sleeper right now at 2% rostered. And I have him in deeper drafts that went 20 rounds. Okay, keep an eye. You may not want to add him for week 1, but you want to keep an eye on KJ Hamler. Okay, former second-round pick out of Penn State, year 2 in the league. Remember, he was last season, it was Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler were the first 2 picks of the Broncos. So KJ Hamler's not going away. He's had a strong camp for Denver. He's going to play a role in 3 wide receiver sets. The question becomes, can Teddy Bridgewater make 3 wide receivers fantasy relevant? 2% rostered. You can even add him after waivers run. If your league does what what mine do, is if you have waivers and then free-for-all free agency that doesn't cost you a waiver spot, KJ Hamler could be available at that spot. And finally, the guy who maybe not a big role week 1, but his role should expand throughout the season in Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9% rostered. 4th-round pick out of USC who runs a 4.5 40. Listen, Khalif Raymond and Ty Williams are currently the starting wide receivers for the Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown's role can increase very, very quickly, by the quarter, potentially, for that Detroit offense as they look for any playmakers out wide for Jared Goff. Somebody besides TJ Hawkinson has to catch the ball down the field. Somebody besides DeAndre Swift has to be able to make a play. Okay, Ty Williams, Khalif Raymond, nice wide receivers. But the path is there for the rookie Amon-Ra St. Brown to become the number 1 wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. And he's only 9% rostered. Somebody who should be monitored. I've drafted him in many spots as well. Again, these are all late-round draft flyers who now did not get drafted. Somebody else chose to take somebody else as that late-round draft flyer, and now are available on the waiver wire at the very beginning of the season. And if they have a good week 1, their value goes up, their cost goes up, and it's going to be more difficult to get them later on through the season. So when I look at these wide receivers, if I have to rank them, in all honesty, my number 1 is Russell Gage. To me, he's the safest floor. Number 2, Nelson Aguilar. Okay, the big playability can't be ignored there. Number 3, Paris Campbell. Number 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the long-term play, potentially in Detroit. And number 5, KJ Hamler, only 2% roster, my sleeper waiver wire ad of the week. All right, everybody, give me a follow on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. Sign up at RotoBaller.com. Use that promo code ACES. Stay smart. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.